We're 30 days in to 2024. Have you already given up on your goals? My name's Carolyn Wellman, and I'm a manifestation teacher and coach. More importantly, I'm a publisher and an author, and I'm bringing you books that were out of print and you can now read them again. I've already done all of Helene Hatzel's, and I'm working on Tag Powell's for this year. So I'm going to talk about my big, hairy, audacious goals for this year and how you can set your goals for 2024. Now, I know you probably did them during your New Year's resolutions. However, by the time the end of January comes, a lot of people have given up. And in the sweepstakes world, I call it January at the gym because I'm also the contest queen and I teach people how to win giveaways. And every time I have a new book come out or I get some media, people complain to me, oh, there's going to be so many more people entering sweepstakes and I'm not going to win as much. And I say, don't worry about it. It's like January at the gym. Now, what do I mean by that? When I say January at the gym, I mean that what happens is January at the gym, everyone New Year's resolutions are like, yeah, I'm gonna be fit this year. I'm gonna get healthy. This is the year I lose that weight. And they just go at it hard. They're at the gym every day. And by the end of January, they're like, this is too hard. And they give up. So for the month of January, the people that are steady at the gym, they can't find the right treadmill. Their classes are all filled up. Their weight machine might not be available. But by the end of January, it's back to normal. All the people that had dedicated themselves to this new fitness journey have basically given up. Now, not everybody. I am brushing with broad strokes here. But that said, you get my point on this. It's January at the gym. And that's why I wanted to talk about this subject at the end of the first month of the year. Because when you set a New Year's resolution or a goal at the beginning of the year, in my mind, you have an entire year to complete it. So, for example, and I do this every year too, and for a while I didn't have to, but as I got older, I stepped into menopause, and then I managed to lose most of that. And then the pandemic happened, and I gained all that back. And so I'm the heaviest I've been in a long time. And I said, okay, that's it. Something needs to shift. And so I'm currently reading The Galveston Diet, which is a book made for menopausal women. And there's many different steps to it. But guess what? I'm just starting with one component because I don't want to dive in head first and do this and do that and change everything I eat, do this. Because then you know what's going to happen? It's going to be January at the gym. I'm just going to give up. I'm like, this is too hard. It's too many changes at once. So what I'm doing is I've just started the intermittent fasting portion. So I need to finish my cup of tea and then the fast starts for the next 14 hours. It'll eventually go up to 16. But we're starting to 14 to get my body used to it. Then I'll add an hour, probably for like a month. And then I'll add another hour. So I'm pacing it. And as I go along, I'll start shifting what I eat. I might just do the breakfast part of her program for a while and then add in breakfast and lunch and then in breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And by the time I finished, I'm going to have the whole diet integrated along with the intermittent fasting. But I'm not doing the whole thing at once because, as my dad always said, what's the best way to eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Right? I know, good old dad jokes. But it's true. Right? You just want to take it slow. And I know that this weight will come off because I'm setting my goal for the whole year, not what am I going to lose this month? Where am I going to be December 31st was my mindset. It gives me plenty of time to take it slow, to follow a plan, not feel overwhelmed, and then I will reach my goal. It's so much easier, I find, to do all those steps one at a time, right? Yeah, trunk call some of your friends. Oh, drunk. Do you mean drunk call some of your friends? Caroline. Caroline's my favorite time traveler. She joins my lives from Australia. So she's actually, it's tomorrow for her. So I call her my time traveling friend because she's from the future. Oh, elephant trunk. Oh, trunk call. Yeah. Eat an elephant one at a time, one bite at a time. Okay, so that one went right over my head. So what I thought I would do is I would go over Helene Hatzel's spec method with you to maybe get an idea of her goals. But also, before I do that, In Contact with Other Realms, if you haven't read this book, there's a chapter here. This is more of her life story. This was her contesting adventures, with a little bit of the metaphysical stuff thrown in that she added long after the first and second edition had come out. But in this book, she has a story. When she was a teenager, she had rheumatic fever, and she nearly died. Several of her friends had it, and they did pass away. So she got to the point where she was in so much pain because it would attack her joints, and it was moving from joint to joint, and she was done. She was in bed for months and months. So she said, depressed and not wanting to be a further burden to my family, I mustered up enough courage and determination to say out loud, okay, I'm ready to die. I do not care if I have to spend some time in purgatory if you think I've sinned. I want to die. Do you hear me now? I want to die, I demanded with resignation. A young man surrounded by almost a blinding glow of light appeared at the foot of my bed. He reminded me of the holy pictures of saints that the nuns passed out to students when our grades were good. An air of serenity, love, and peace radiated from him, cast aside all fear of his presence. I just assumed he was a saint coming to take me to heaven. What makes you think it is your time to die? You are here to accomplish a great deal in this lifetime, and you have not yet begun. The warmth of his smile echoed in his message. Later in life, you will be inspired to write and share your experiences so that others will learn from them. There is a purpose for every soul, and one day you will understand. You are healed, he said before he vanished. So she had a messenger come to her when she was 15 and basically tell her, you're going to write at some point in life. He didn't give her a date. He didn't give her a time frame. He just said, in the future. And I think we forget that sometimes the path that we're on is part of what we need to get to that goal. The goal isn't the end result. The goal is the whole process. I'll repeat that because it's so important. A lot of people think the goal is the end result of whatever they want. You know, they want a specific job. They want a relationship. They want to have a certain amount of money. They want a car. They want to go on vacation. It's the whole process of getting there, and who you become in that process is part of the goal. And I think that's a piece that many people miss when they are goal setting. Because when something hasn't appeared in your life yet, and if you're getting to a frustrating part of the journey, what you need to ask yourself is, who is the person that has the X, the job, the relationship, the money, the car, the house, whatever it is? Who is the person who is that? So I could say, who is the Carolyn that is back to being 150 pounds? Who is the Carolyn that has a best-selling novel? Who is the Carolyn that owns a house again? Those are big questions. It's one of the reasons I'm really glad I am taking the Silva Method instructor training. So not only have I taken the Silva Method the same way Helene Hatzel did, but I'm also assisting in the 4-day intensive, just like Helene did. But because I'm doing her books and then Tag's books, who was also a Sylvia instructor, it just made sense for me to go down that path. I'm going to read the spec chapter out because it's so important. Now, what's interesting is most people believe she manifested all those cash and prizes and trips in this book using the spec method. But I've done a video on this. She didn't write out the spec method in full until 2009. In her initial book, which is part 1 of this book, so part 1 is the almost complete 1971 edition. And I didn't know I was missing a chapter until after I had published this, because I didn't get a hold of the original book until after I had published the 3rd edition. And then I realized I was missing a chapter, only to discover it wasn't really missing. So I'm guessing when Tag republished her 2nd edition and they added parts 2 and 3, that it wasn't really appropriate to have that chapter in the book. And it actually ended up in contact with other realms. So in that chapter that I just read you, that was actually in the original, the Name It and Claim It game. Very metaphysical, really didn't fit with the Name It and Claim It game. But just so nobody misses out, you can go download it for free on my website. But so in the 1988 edition, at the end of the Maneuvers for Witchcraft chapter, it was Select It, Project It, Expect It. But then, of course, by 2010, she had added Collect It. And as she had been editing her own books, she was not very technically savvy. And so she edited her books with the return key and the space bar. And she just stuck a chapter in wherever she could. So I moved spec to right after Maneuvers for Witchcraft because it only made sense. She talks about spec, and then there was no spec chapter right there to be read. Caroline says, I still need to read the missing chapter. Yes, go download it. The first part is about Helene losing weight, and the second part is the entire messenger chapter that ends up in contact with other realms. So it kind of really wasn't missing. I mean, people still were reading it, but they just didn't know it. So Select It, Project It, Expect It, Collect It. So here's how you can use this for your goals for the rest of 2024. If you feel like you've fallen off the bandwagon from your New Year's resolutions. 1, your goals can take a whole year to manifest, or longer if you've set a big, hairy, audacious goal that might take a few years. As Helene Hatzel always says, there is no failure, only a delay in results. So depending on the goal, something that you're setting in motion today may take 2 or 3 years to manifest, depending on the size of the goal or the direction of it. Now, technically, everything is happening now, and many manifestation teachers will say that if you can get yourself into the right frequency, you can manifest it right away. I find it difficult to do, but maybe that's my specific human design that won't allow me to do it, because I'm a general manifester, whereas Helene was a specific manifester, hence spec. And why she could pick a specific thing that she set a goal on, and I have to make it a little more generic. So, for example, when she turned 40, she wanted to be in Paris on her 40th birthday in a cafe having wine with her husband. And she did it. But mine would have to be a little more general, like this summer, I want to be in Europe, enjoying the ambience, the culture, and the culinary experiences with people that I love. I have to be a little more generic about it. Similar results, but not as specific. So spec is the technique I use when I have a goal to reach. It is not new. From people of all walks of life, used it in many cultures and professions. So this is her take on the famous ask, believe, receive. But she took the believe and split it into 2 parts, which is project it, expect it. And I'll explain the split. Follow me through the steps as I explain in more detail. So select a goal to get started. That sounds obvious, but you do need to be specific in your goal. Now, I just said I'm not a specific manifester, but still selecting a goal that I want to be, say, for example, in Europe on a certain, this summer, enjoying this is still pretty specific. Someone asked me if this technique could be used for other purposes than just entering contests. For merchandise, yes, this can be used to obtain anything you desire in the physical, mental, or spiritual realms. You name it, you can claim it. This year, I did a vision board that was different than any other vision board I created. And the vision board I created in 2022, 90% of it has manifested. The only thing that didn't really manifest was I never finished the notebook that I set out to create, the companion workbook to this. I didn't buy a house or win a house. I'm open. And I still don't have a front load washer and dryer. But the fact that I've got two Audible books out and I'm recording my third, that was on there. I wanted to connect with more people. I absolutely did that. My relationship with George, I think it's better. We'll have to ask him, see if he thinks it's better. But it's still going strong. I wanted a studio. I now own all the equipment. If you go back and look at my older videos, you'll see the quality has improved as I've gone along. So all the components are here. I have new monitor, new computer, new camera, new lights, new microphone, new chair. I bought it all. Everything was new. That was on there. The Silva method was on there. Boy, would I ever get that threefold. I've taken the courses. Now I'm assisting. Now I'm going to be Silva instructor. I asked for a library. I was thinking of a space I could actually put the books. No, I just kept getting more books. So not only did I, in 2022, get Helene Hatzel's, some of her library, but I also got Tag Powell's library. So I have 2 bins here. Three, one for each library and one holding all the audio series. Yeah, now I need those shelves to put them on. This office is so small. Anyway, so those are the only, so I got most of it. And actually one of the things that was cool is I put a trip on there. 3 weeks after I finished the board, I was in the Caribbean on a beach. That was so fast. I was so surprised. The next part, so this is the first half of the Believe section of the Ask, Believe, Receive, Project It, can be accomplished in many ways. See yourself as already having it. For example, the natives see the rain falling on the ground while they're doing their famous rain dance. They do not see the beginning stages of clouds forming or darkening skies, just the end result of rain hitting the ground. In the same way, a doctor, healer, or patient should always see the end result of the patient's perfect health. That is, they must visualize the patient not getting well, but instead already being 100% well. This is not lying to oneself. Rather, this is commanding the higher consciousness to bring about a particular desired goal, condition, or situation in one's life. Now, for some reason, it is easier for people to worry about the potential disaster than it is something really good. Now, what's interesting is there are 2 sides to the same coin. And also people say, well, I can't visualize it, but they are so good at worrying. They can look at worst case scenarios. Oh my God, what if something happens to my car? What if I don't get into school? What if they don't accept me for the job? What if my computer dies? What if my phone breaks? What if they break up with me? They can sit and spin and spin and spin and spin and spin. And they sit there and they envision all these crazy scenarios of everything that can go wrong. Guess what? You are following the SPEC method and you are projecting out into the universe all the stuff that can go bad. Why don't we flip that and you start envisioning all the crazy, amazing things that can go well? I can't remember the fellow's name, but he wrote a book called Pronoia. So instead of being paranoid that the universe is out to get you, you be proanoid that the universe is out to support you in every way possible. So that everything that happens is supporting your journey. So just assume that everything that happens is helping you reach those dreams and goals and desires. Even the things we might label as bad. Like not selling anything today, or having a car accident, having a flat tire, making you late for work, running out of gas on the freeway, being broken up with, right? When I was going through my divorce, it was so hard, but I also intuitively knew that I couldn't do what I'm doing now with my husband. How we were together wasn't going to allow me to become the person I am today. And I knew that intuitively, but breaking up was so hard. Like, don't get me wrong. That was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do. It was not fun. And I know, like, I can feel the difference. My relationship with George is 100 times better, especially for me. I can just say, oh, I'm live streaming tonight. I'm teaching my class. And he's like, okay. I'm like, I have to go off and do this, or I'm off doing that. And he's like, okay. He just lets me do what I got to do, lets me be me. And he covers off when I can't be there. And it's fantastic. I don't have to worry about anything. It's wonderful. We have a great balance. And then when he goes off camping and doing all his outdoorsy stuff that he likes, I'm here holding down the fort. Great balance. So I knew. So look how long that took to come here. So and Helene told me back in 2008 that after I'm 58, I'm going to spend the rest of my life writing and teaching and traveling. I started a little earlier than that, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. I wrote my first book I started in 2004. It was published in 2006. The next one was 2008. Then I had a big gap because life took a dip. So 2016 was my next book. Then I picked up the pace. 2020, I had 2 out. 2021, I had, did I have 1 out in 2021? And then 22, I missed. 23, I did 4 books. And this year I thought, well, why not just go for the whole big, hairy, audacious goal and publish 12 books, 1 book a month. And I'm a little bit behind on the one for this month, but I'll end up with a month with 2 or 3, and it'll be fine. It'll all work out by the end of the year. Again, I'm not focused on, oh my gosh, I have to have this today. I'm focused on where will I be December 31st, 2024. So when Helene talks about project it took me a while to figure this out, because a lot of people feel like project it and expect it are the same. But I figured out that project it is from here. This is where you visualize. This is where you see the end result. This is where you journal. This is where you vision board. This is where you write out goal lists and pin them up around the house. This is where you see yourself achieving that goal in the mind's eye. Okay. Yes, I have heard this, Sharon. 2 different cancers turned out to be ultimately positive experiences because they turned you into the person that you are today. And the one thing I don't like to hear, this is from Robert Ohado. He says, your soul is here for soul growth. And it doesn't grow through the beautiful, easy experiences. Your soul grows when it gets tough. Yeah. I also like his astrology, and Pluto was in Capricorn for 15 years, which is where I went through my dark night, because all my personal planets are in Capricorn. And I said, oh, because it's finally out. It's Pluto's in Aquarius now, and it's going to do one last quick little wobble into Capricorn before it's out for the next 20 years. I said, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And he said, and now you get to learn all the Aquarian lessons. And I went, no. Oh, well. Okay. So that's where projected is up in the head. Now, this is where, seriously, George, why is he printing while I'm live streaming? Expected is seeing yourself as already having or enjoying the end result. The following is a simple visualization technique I enjoy doing while waiting for something to come to fruition. It is a yoga breathing exercise that anyone can use while sitting in a chair, inhaling slowly for 4 to 5 seconds, or heartbeats, whichever is more comfortable for you. Hold your breath for a 4 to 7 beat count. Exhale slowly for 4 to 7 beat count. Finally, do not breathe at all for 4 to 7 seconds. Repeat this breathing sequence for 5 minutes. While you're doing this rhythmic breathing, see yourself having what you want or have, or being what you want to be. And I think she made a mistake using the word see. I think in this part she should have said, feel yourself having what you want. Because I believe, from reading all of her material and the stuff, other things I found, I talking to people that knew her, that projected is visual and it's up in the thinking. And expected is feeling, and it's down, like the heart chakra. So you have the third eye seeing, and then the feeling. And I think that's the difference. So I put a note in here. This technique is called square breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and repeat. So then she continues. A certain phenomenon occurs as you do this special breathing exercise. As you slowly exhale about the 4th time, you will become aware of a very relaxed feeling in your arms and legs. You will feel so comfortable that you will not even want to move. This is because physical tension has been reduced within the muscles and nerves of your body. At the same time, a second phenomenon occurs. Your anxieties and your mental tensions are also relieved. This leaves your thoughts and mind open for you to program your goals. In this relaxed state, mentally pictured your desired result, this desired end result. So I think it should say, yes, program your goals, but in the relaxed state, you're going to send energy. You're going to energize those end results. She also doesn't say it here, but that is pretty much a Silva meditation. Like, she's taken a lot of the wording out, but the actual process is the Silva method. I just had deja vu. That's very interesting. Just a side note. I've been told they are signposts to show you you're on the right path. So I'm meant to be here, and so are you. Oops. Be positive. Ask for the good things of life. You deserve the best. Of course we all do. How else can you express your God-given talents? How else can you help others unless you are healthy and happy? You need energy and life of abundance to accomplish your best work. Absolutely. I can't, unless I'm resourced, I can't create more content or more material or produce more things. This technique has proven very successful for me and many of the students that use it. Being a positive person is so vital and important to make this process in life in general a daring, delightful adventure. Well, I can definitely attest that my life has been an adventure. Beware, I'm going to do more preaching on the subject. She was so funny. First is to think positive. Do not be negative, either mentally or emotionally. Again, mentally or emotionally. First is to think positive. Oh, I read that part. Do not dwell on what could go wrong or what has not worked before. This is a new moment. Visualize the end result only, and do not be concerned with how it will come with you. Just see it and feel it. Finally, she said, feel it as though it is already achieved. Second, do something constructive on the physical level to aid your mental picture. You have to get into the act. So I saw Matthias De Stefano talk about the law of three for manifesting. It's think it, feel it, do it. So you have to see it here, you have to feel it here, and then you have to take action. It's exactly what she's talking about. So for example, as I said to someone once, books don't write themselves. That's the action, right? The action was me sitting down at the computer and typing. So when I did the Audible books, I had to find a production studio. And then when the timing was right and I had been resourced enough that I had the funds to go and hire the studio, see, it's cyclical, right? I found somebody who's living out their passion, and I come to them and I help them. So you have to take action. Again, like I'm working on my goal of letting go of the weight. I don't want to lose it because I might find it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm doing it as a process over the year. So it's, it's more achievable and not so harsh and not too big a shift so that it's easier for me to get into that groove. But I'm taking action every day on it. You can accomplish this by using the yoga exercise I shared with you earlier, or depriving yourself. Now, this one I find interesting. Depriving yourself of some physical pleasure until you receive what you want. For example, one woman kept the TV turned off for weeks until she received, from unexpected sources, the money she needed to repair her house. Another student got on her treadmill and walked 15 minutes a day until she got a new car. She explained, I visualized myself in a new car. I could actually smell the newness of the interior. She won the car from a local radio station contest 3 months later. You may use whatever disciplinary measure you wish that fits into your way of life. The important thing that you do is something to show your subconscious mind that you mean business and that you're willing to work for what you want, to invest the energy in order to manifest your desire. In this way, you become positive by doing some extra tasks on the physical level. If you fail to do the exercise or use the discipline you have chosen, this is an indication to the subconscious that you really did not want or care to accomplish what you asked for. Yes, sometimes I have collected a prize or end result in a matter of hours, but the majority of the time there's a delayed result. That is when the majority of people get impatient and can actually nullify their goal with negative energy. Being positive in all areas is a way to make of life for me. Make it one for you. So what she's saying is that because there's going to be a delay in results, I mean, if you bake a cake and you have the batter, well, you still have to put it in the oven, wait another 45 minutes, and then wait for it to cool, and then take the time to ice it. So you're waiting a little bit more. It's not instant, but if you're a little bit patient, you're going to have some cake in a little bit of time. Collect it is the fun part. Okay, so this is the receiving, basically. Collected is the fun part and makes it all worthwhile. The most important component of this is to begin to love completely. Love everything unconditionally. The clouds, the winds, the stones, the trees, the animals, the insects, and all the people you come in contact with. This is sometimes the most difficult task. All is one, as we know. You must love and respect everything. It is not a physical love, but rather a universal feeling, a common bond, a harmony with all. My Native American friend taught me that even the stones have a consciousness of their own. God's consciousness is in everything, and we must love all of it. And sometimes we forget that. As messy humans, it's so easy to forget that. As Robert Ohata likes to say, we're flawsome. It's flawsome, flawed, and awesome. I tend to get sentimental when I remember all the good things and experiences I've had and continue to enjoy. I have found that the more you use these techniques in all areas of your life, the more insightful you become. A calm, contented feeling will surface when you realize what life in the physical is all about. You will find yourself becoming more of an observer, and your understanding of people will take on a new perspective. It will also remind you that we are all here to learn about ourselves as we evolve. We are all gods in the making, as the saying goes. What a great chapter. That was an article in the Sun newspaper. I actually have the article. I blogged about it and I did a scan of the actual article that was in the paper. That's what I wanted to come on here and talk about tonight was, goal setting and life is a process. It's not instant. You have to, think of what you want, feel like it's going to happen, and then take action towards it. If you want a job, perk up your resume, start looking online, networking with friends. You want a relationship, sign up for a dating site, go for a few coffee dates, see what's out there. Tell your friends that you're ready to meet somebody new and maybe they know somebody. The old-fashioned way, how we used to do it. A friend of a friend of a friend. And then just live your life. Whatever you're doing, take action and then go and live your life. And then when you get the inspired action, you get that intuitive hit to do something, follow through. I've had several times when George would say, he calls it a spidey sense. I'm like, when are you going to learn your intuitive? He says, my spidey sense is tingling. I think I should do this. And then he brushes it off. And what do you know? He'd been right. If he'd taken action, things would have turned out differently. Always, always, always listen to that inner voice. That's inspiring you to take action towards whatever it is. Whether it's to call somebody, to buy something, to launch something, to write something, to, paint something, whatever it is. Always listen to your little voice and take that inspired action. Because even if it seems illogical, it might be the step you need to get you to the end result. And we like to think that life is like this nice straight line going forward, maybe even going up or like this. No, it goes like this. Back and down and up and around and around and around and back and up and forward. And yeah, it's sure as heck not a smooth line. So when you're frustrated as all get out and you're like wondering what the heck, just have some patience and just trust the process and keep taking steps towards your goals. And when all else fails, all you can do is laugh. And that's the note I want to leave you on, because we need to feel joy and to be happy in this life, even when it all seems mucky. And know that you are loved by everyone and everything on some level. Until next month, go manifest your best life.